Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out probatemastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit probatemastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content. All right. Thank you guys for joining today. This is the Estate Professionals Mastermind podcast and mastermind call. We do it every Tuesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, 11 o'clock a.m. for those of you out on the West Coast. I welcome you all wherever you're coming from. If you've never been here before, this is an open, interactive call. It's good for asking your questions, sharing your experiences. If you have run into a unique issue in a deal or prospect that you're working on, or if you're brand new in the probate and the estate niche, we want to hear your questions, and either myself or some of our other group members will answer those questions as they come up. If there's not anything to start with, then I'll get started with a little bit of light training and get us kind of kicked off in a direction. And then as you guys have your questions, I'll let you just start rolling. I am looking real quick for Queenie. Is Queenie here? I don't see you. Just want to make sure that I can make my admin a co-host and monitor the chat. All right. She'll pop in here in a second. So if you do have a question, if you have a story, if you have an experience that you want to share, a win or a struggle that you're having, go down to the bottom of your Zoom screen and click the React button. This is recorded, especially for those of you that are new, you've never been here before. We always record this call. It goes onto our podcast platform. If you want to find that, just go to your favorite podcast channel and look up Estate Professionals Mastermind. If you want to find us on YouTube, just go to YouTube and please follow Probate Mastery. There's a playlist for past coaching calls. There's a whole bunch of familiar names here. So a lot of you guys I've seen many times before. So you guys pretty much know the drill. If this is your first time, please come back every Tuesday or as often as you want. You'll not only get to get answers to your specific questions, but you'll get to hear some of the questions that your peers have. Maybe it'll kind of give you an idea or something that you didn't have before. There's Queenie. Queenie, I'm making you a co-host, and we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start today with a little bit of an announcement for those of you that do not have Probate Mastery yet. And this is also going to apply to those that do have Probate Mastery. But if you don't have Probate Mastery, starting in January, I'd like to start this next week, but the reality is people have a lot going on during this time of year. So starting in January, we're going to redo Probate Mastery. I have a list of probably 15 to 20 different topics that I'd like to teach on and break out. For those of you that, if you don't have Probate Mastery right now, my version of Probate Mastery is 5 long sessions. They're about 3 hours long. We cover the probate process, kind of understanding the court system. We cover building a business plan. We cover creating a team that kind of take a who, not how approach. If you haven't read that book, I encourage you guys to go get that book. If your business is small enough, if your vision for your business, because I know everyone kind of starts small, if your vision for your business is small enough where you can personally handle it forever, your vision for your business might be too small. So we want to add in services that are going to require you to build out a team. And I'm not talking about a traditional real estate team. I'm talking about a vendor team. Some of you guys are going to build out actual real estate team members. You're going to put buyer's agents or listing agents on your team, or investor partners in your team, and things like that. That's totally fine. But the book for Joel that just asked is the book Who, Not How. So the idea is We shouldn't look at every problem and go, how am I going to solve this problem? That's the wrong question to ask. You should look at the problem and say, who can help me solve this problem? I used to look at problems and say, how can I solve this problem? When I first started listing foreclosures back in 2009, 2010. Um, I would look at a foreclosure listing that was just destroyed, and it would need to be winterized. It would need the locks changed. The grass would be 3 feet tall. It would need to be cleaned out. It needed repairs. It needed to be listed. And I'd look at it and go, how am I going to do all this? And I would end up putting in long, long hours for a little bit of money in the foreclosure space. And then I got the book Who Not How, and I realized I'd been thinking about it all wrong. And that's when, on the foreclosure side, I started putting together my vendor team. And that vendor team served me really well when I transitioned, or the idea behind the vendor team served me well when I transitioned the business over into the probate and the estate niche. You look at a problem and you say, okay, who can I get to solve this problem? And now all of a sudden you become the linchpin for your client's needs. And if you don't know what a linchpin is, that's another book that I'm going to suggest is the book Linchpin. Great book by Seth Godin. It's a short read. Who Not How is pretty substantial. Really, really good book. Linchpin is a short read, Seth Godin. And the idea of a linchpin is in between a truck or a tractor and a trailer or a wagon. There's the tongue and groove. And that tongue and groove are held together by a teeny tiny little pin called a linchpin. And I know this, most of you guys know this, but if you don't, hopefully you pick something up out of it. So what we want to be in our communities and in our business and in the lives of those that we're serving is we want to be that linchpin, that small little piece that nothing stays together without. Now, you're not the person that's driving over and cutting the grass. You're not the person changing locks. You're not the person doing the repairs to a house and staging and cleaning out. You're the linchpin, the connector for your clients and the services they need. And you are going to find those services through kind of a who, not how approach. And I really want to drill that into you guys. Now, I got massively sidetracked. So I started off by talking about what you get in probate mastery. So it's the court, understanding the court system. It is building a business plan. It's creating your vendor team. That's your who, not how team. It is prospecting. Okay. You got to learn how to prospect efficiently. And it can't be, hey, I see somebody died. Do you want to sell the house? That's the best way to get shut down. You have to prospect as a problem solver and a service oriented professional. Okay. In Mastery, we talk about your unique selling proposition. And last, we talk about appointment strategies. And if you have not taken Mastery, I'm going to encourage you guys to go get in now because when we redo it, we're going to redo it live in January. And it's going to be many, many, many weeks put together of live probate mastery training broken down into probably 15 to 20 different lessons. It's going to be a lot more substantial when it's done. Price is going to go up. We don't have the price set for that yet. Now, if you guys already have probate mastery, you don't have to go buy it. You guys are going to be invited to the remake. So if you're already in probate mastery, you already have it, just make sure you watch your email and we will be announcing the remake of our mastery series. It's going to be very good. I'm very excited about it. So if you already have it, be on the lookout for the remake. If you don't have it yet, get in now before the price goes up. It will go up. I just don't know what it's going to be. It'll probably double, most likely, if not a little bit more. Okay. All right, perfect. So go ahead and raise your hands if you guys have any questions for me, any experiences. Let us know. I want to see some hands up. Want to see some of what you guys are going through. Anything yet? Um, Real estate Ritchie, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Cool. So I had jury duty a couple days ago out of the blue, and I luckily got out of it somehow. And on my way out there, I saw a probate sign. And I'm like, "Er," and I'm like, "Let me go in there." And I went in there and talked to, and I said, "Hey, I need to find out more about probate." They're like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm a real estate professional, just trying to find out more how I can serve our community." And got lucky, and some lady sat there for 20 to 30 minutes, went through the whole entire system, showed me how to look up people of heirs, in Virginia. I said, "Hey, what about probate?" She said, "Probate is not public record. So you won't see anything that clearly says probate, but they have wills
Hmm.
and a list of heirs, right?" So those are things she was kind of showing me how to look up. And I got a couple names down, and I circle prospect. I haven't got it through to anyone yet, but that was like my first kind of in. I'm a big, heavy circle prospector, working by referral and doing open houses. But I love digging in and doing this stuff. And it was so cool to spend 20, 30 minutes time and learn that type of database and see the people that are potentially have passed away, or at least one person has passed away,
Hmm.
and see how quick that list was right there to get.
Yep. So what I want to know is, is there a way to look up administration applications? And here's what I mean by that, everyone, including Ritchie. When you pass away with a will, if somebody passes away with a will and you go down with a will, you apply for probate. Now, if you guys are in your court systems and this doesn't sound accurate to you, this is just the overall, this is what they teach you in law school. Some courthouses and court systems lump these all together. But in law school, they're going to teach you, and I didn't go to law school. I wish I did, but just want to put that out there. I'm not a law professor or lawyer. But in law school, they basically teach you that with a will, you apply for probate. And so that's what Ritchie's talking about. If you go down without a will, you may think that you're applying for probate, but generally what you're applying for is administration. And probate follows the wishes of the will. Administration follows the process that the state has laid out. So, intestacy laws. Okay. So, both follow a very similar process for applying, getting approval, identifying who the administrator or executive is going to be. They both follow a similar process. In North Carolina, it's two different applications. If I go to the courthouse and I say, "Hey, I need to apply for probate," they're going to say, "Where's your will?" And if I said I don't have one, they'd go, "Oh, you're not applying for probate, you're applying for administration." I don't know if that's the way it is in Virginia. I practiced in Virginia, but I wasn't actively pursuing probate at the time. So I want you to look at that and figure out if you can get the administration applications. Okay. And the answer might be no, but I bet you could probably access those as well. All right, good. Well, I appreciate that you went down there. I want everyone to go to the courthouse. It's one of the first steps that I teach most people to do. Is go to the courthouse, talk to the clerk. Um, Ritchie, how did you introduce yourself again? I really liked that. It was extremely simple, and I feel like it's a good learning opportunity for folks.
Yeah, they just asked who I was, and I just introduced myself now as a realtor, just said a real estate professional here, and I'm just trying to learn a little bit more about this so I can serve my community at a higher level. You
Yeah.
know, just because I want to be more fluent. You know, you want to be competent and skilled and caring, and those are the three things you really need. And you only get that by knowledge, and then you can teach it. And that's what I kind of hit them off that way. It's just like I'm just trying to find out some info. I'm not here trying to be an ambulance chaser or whatever, right?
Yep. So, a lot of folks get quote unquote turned away by the clerk when they go to the clerk's office. It's rare that you're going to get turned away. They really shouldn't turn you away, but they will look at you like you have two heads, and they will be resistant because it is public record. They may not publish it out there easily findable where you can track down the leads, but it is public record, and so they can't really turn you away, but they're going to be very resistant if you don't go in comparable to the way that Ritchie did. A lot of people go in and they say, "Hey, I'm a real estate agent. I want to list inherited properties, and I want to be able to find how to get all the data and figure out who to call." And you start explaining all the things that you're going to do with the information that you're getting, and they're like, "Man, we don't feel good about this at all." regardless of whether they feel good about it, they still can't deny you access in most states. In most states, they can't deny you access, but just because they're not supposed to doesn't mean that they don't if you approach it the wrong way. Okay, so I'm going to encourage you guys to approach it the way Ritchie did. I thought that was very succinct, and it came across service oriented. It's no wonder they sat down and gave you a really good look. And I think you're in Northern Virginia, aren't you? That's even more surprising that it was in Northern Virginia because they're busy, and I would have expected kind of a northern type of response to you going in. But I think it's just the way that you presented yourself made it very easy to help you. All right, perfect. Natalya, hey, come on up, unmute yourself. How's it going? Are you there? Can you hear us?
Hear me?
Yeah, yep.
Hello?
Hey,
Okay. All right. I'm driving. That's why I'm kind of anyway, but
be safe.
couple wins. We got a couple wins, me and my partner, and we're fairly new in probate side of the real estate. But we got one property that it was a hoarder house. We clean up and got her like a 40 over asking price in the sale.
Nice, nice. Okay.
Yeah, which is like, okay, well, this is the pitch line now for every single probate uh, appointment. So, and another one is where the lady found us through a website, which is kind of cool. And the website is fairly basic, but she found us and listed with us, and we pretty much sold it and put it's pending in after a week, less than a week on the market. So that is another good one.
Nice.
My question to you guys is I'm in Minnesota and we have the our probate is just like yours. You explained, it depends if they have a will or they don't have a will. So another my question is sometimes I look at the probate case and it says it's closed, but when you open the case, it says all the claims due like a couple months later. So my question is, why does anybody know why they put a close on the case? I'm just curious if anybody in.
I have a guess. If you guys know that, anybody that might be from Minnesota, if you know that, please raise your hand. Um, when did the case open? Let's take an example of a case that you see that's
Yeah.
closed. How long ago did it open?
So usually, so it gets open. Um, well, in Minnesota, we have a 120 days of credit period. So
Hmm.
it seems like it's within the creditor period, but when you look at it, it says closed.
Yep. So you look at it and it's within the creditor period.
Yeah.
My speculation is that they have approved the application, that probate
Okay.
itself is not closed, the estate itself is not settled,
I
but
see.
it's no longer quote unquote in the court system waiting approval. Okay,
I see.
that's only speculation.
Mhm.
Maybe they actually closed it, but really they're not. They
No,
shouldn't
not
be
really.
closing anything that's inside of the
Exactly.
notice to creditors period.
Exactly.
So I don't
Well, I
think
guess
that
what it is.
that they mean that closed means what we think it means
Hmm.
in your area at least.
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking because I was talking to one of my leads, and she said, "Oh, I'm not sure what is going on. I checked it online, and it's closed, but I'm not really closed yet. And the attorney really doesn't explain to me." And I was like, "Okay, where can I find the answer?"
Yep.
Pretty much that's where I'm coming from.
That's um, pretty normal that
Hmm.
something would be flagged in a way that a consumer doesn't know.
I see.
And not only do they not know, but their lawyer's not explaining things to them. That's extremely
Exactly.
unfortunately,
Hmm.
especially a busy lawyer or a lawyer
Hmm.
that just doesn't care. They're
Okay.
not going to explain to the family what's going on at all.
Okay.
There's not always a high degree of social aptitude
Okay.
and EQ
All
with
right.
some attorneys, not all. I don't think that this is an example of a closed probate. I think that part of the process is closed.
It's just the process. Okay. Got it. Okay. Well, thank you so
Okay.
much for your help.
All right. Thank you. All right. Anda, how are you? I'm going to add a pin and bring you up.
Hi, Bruce. Doing great, thank you. Um, I I'm just giving a tip. I have some legal background and I have some answers as far as probate, but ChatGPT has been my best friend in finding answers. And I'm not saying it's right, you have to double check, but any question that I have, I'm not Googling, I ask ChatGPT, I'm very specific to my state, my county, my locality, and maybe you have an answer there or at least a start where to look at. As you are saying, attorney might be busy, and just to learn once you learn the process and all the stages, then you're fine. But learning the process in the specific state and locality is, I think, it's also for me the first step.
That's such a good answer. So, Natalya, ChatGPT, I'm going to do one better. And I can't believe I didn't think about this a minute ago. I am always looking for an excuse to talk to my clerk, a judge, or a lawyer. I'm always looking for any excuse that I can get to start a conversation with one of those three parties. So I would probably use this as an excuse, Natalya, and anyone else that maybe doesn't know what something means is an excuse to call all three of those people or stop in and have a conversation with all three of those people. We just heard from Ritchie, went to the courthouse, went to the clerk's office, and had a 20-minute walkthrough. If you have a real question, that's a great excuse to start that conversation. If you go in and say, hey, I'm trying to prospect and call and mail all the people that have applied for probate, um, you're likely to get resistance. But if it's, hey, I have a question on a probate file. This is an estate that I might be helping, and it says closed. What does that mean? The family didn't know. The clerk is likely gonna walk you through that, and all you need is that little bit of interaction and rapport is established, hopefully, as long as you're not trying to correct them. Okay. A little bit of rapport is established, and the conversation can take off from there. So use it as an excuse to reach out to the clerk's office, use it as an excuse to reach out to attorneys. This is not something that I would necessarily cold call an attorney over. I would probably use this and reach out to a few attorneys that I'm trying to deepen a relationship with that maybe I've already
Mm-hmm.
made first contact, and I just want to deepen that relationship a little bit. But if just because you get an answer from one doesn't mean you can't call the other attorneys that you're trying to deepen a relationship with. You're not doubting what the one says, but once you have the excuse, use it. I've got the excuse. I'm going to call all my attorneys now. And if I know a judge or I know a public administrator or I know the clerk, I'm calling them too. And I know I'll probably get the same answer from everybody, but
I
I
have a
need the
couple more
conversation.
questions after
Yeah,
that.
go for it.
All right. So this particular case is also reverse mortgage foreclosure in foreclosure. So my question to you guys, if she decides to list the property because she has to eventually, so how does the listing process works with reverse mortgages as the listing, whereas there is a pre-foreclosure for reverse mortgage?
Yep. Is it upside down?
No,
Good.
no,
Okay.
no. It just
You or your title company or attorney need an authorization to communicate
gotcha.
um, with the lender. So whoever the responsible party is, and unfortunately, if they're a responsible party but they don't have court approval yet, they can't sign they can't give you authority. So you need court approval for them to give you approval. But once you get that authorization to communicate with the lender, go ahead and call the lender and let them know what's up. They need to give a certain amount of time. You're going to need a payoff for as long as they'll give it. It's usually, what is it,
Mhm.
60 days? I think they'll no, 30 days. I think they'll normally give a 30-day payoff. You're not going to sell the house and get it closed in 30 days. At least it's
Mhm.
unlikely. But I would get a payoff, and then you're just going to handle it the same
Like a
way
normal.
you would handle any other sale.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay.
Okay,
Now,
perfect. Thank
they
you.
need to know, you also need to reach out to the foreclosure trustee, who is normally an attorney. Not always, but normally it's an attorney. Reach out to the foreclosure trustee and let them know what's happening. Find out if there's a foreclosure date scheduled. If there is, ask what process you need to go through to get it delayed because you're trying to sell the house. There is equity. They generally don't want to foreclose, especially not if there's equity and they're going to
Mhm.
get their full amount. They probably don't want to foreclose and go through the problem of losing money.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it was already, it was, she got an extension for the foreclosure because she had no idea there was a foreclosure on the property
Mhm.
until I reach out to her. And then she, she got a lawyer and got hold of the trustee, but there was already extension made. But anyway, thank you so much. That was helpful.
How much is in arrears in back late payments, penalties, and interest? Do you know how much it's going to take to catch them up, get
The
out of?
the property is about $250,000. She's in the, well, back in when I reached her, it was under 100,000. It was like an $80,000, but there
How
is a little
many?
bit more.
So, do you know how many payments have been missed and how much interest? So that's another thing that you need to ask.
Yeah, well, not. I don't know as of right now.
Yeah. So I would try to get an authorization to communicate with the bank. That way they can give you the information on how much it's going to cost to get out of foreclosure. It's probably, maybe if it's 6 months, it's not only going to be 6 months worth of mortgage, it'll be the penalties and interest as well. And then talk to the foreclosure trustee and make sure that they know what's going on. They will work with you and the
Mhm.
seller if they know what's going on. If they're in the dark, they're going to try to move this thing through to a foreclosure.
Okay. Okay.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. On to go for it.
Hey, kind of piggybacking on the same on Natalya and her scenarios. Two questions, please. One is how do I get authorization to talk on the behalf of the seller with the bank? And
Mhm.
second is what is a good script to approach probate cases that have pre-foreclosure or even foreclosure notice on them? First time talking to them. Thank you.
Um, so the first question, ask that first question again.
How do I get authorization to talk on behalf of the
Yep.
seller or owner for to about the balance and anything related to foreclosure?
Okay. So you need to make sure that the executor or administrator, you need to make sure that they are authorized to
Okay.
communicate with the bank, that they are the point of contact for the bank, because the original point of contact that had the mortgage is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, the bank needs to know that um, their quote unquote client is now the executor. And I use air quotes because that executor is really not responsible. They're not personally liable or anything like that. They're not technically the client, but the bank needs to have them as the main point of contact. And if that's the case, then they should be able to sign an authorization to release information, and that's technically the terminology: authorization to release information, essentially granting you authority to call the bank, the foreclosure or short sale department, I mean, there's a bunch of different departments. Sometimes you're going to have to jump through a little bit of a phone tree and find out, hey, no, you don't want to talk to me. You want to talk to this person. But jump through that phone tree until you get a person who can tell you what's going on, how far behind it is. Now, a script on approaching these folks. I would handle it just like any other probate call, and then in that conversation, say, hey, could I bring up one other thing? Yep. I noticed that there was a foreclosure filing on the property. Is that something that you guys are going to catch up on and keep, or is this an instance that you're going to try to get out of the foreclosure process and sell the house? So, if you guys know me, I always give people two different alternatives. If they're going to say, no, we're going to keep the house, I want to hear, yes, we're going to keep the house. I don't want to hear, no, no, we're going to keep the house. One allows me to extend the relationship and conversation. The other one, I have to battle with an objection. So I always want to give them one alternative of, hey, yeah, we're going to catch up and we're going to keep the house. Um, so if I said, are you going to sell the house? And they go, no, we're going to keep the house, it's kind of a conversation ender. Not if you're skilled, but you still have to overcome some objections. So I want to give them the alternative. Are you going to catch up and keep the house, or are you going to catch up and sell the house?
Love it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Awesome, guys. We have plenty of room for more questions if you guys have them. We're only halfway through the call. I don't want to end it early, and I'm trying to think of what I can ramble about if you guys don't have other questions or success stories. So let me see some
Natalia
hands.
has no questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Anyway, I reached out to one of the family members, and the they reopened the probate because the PR was wasn't doing the job originally. So the case been filed in 2020. So they appointed the PR, and the PR was going to purchase the property in the estate, and they never did. And then after all, they stopped paying the mortgage on the property and taxes, property taxes. So they reopened the case, the family trying to remove the PR, and now refiling the whole thing. So they asked me a question because the current PR is living in the property. What to do with those people? So how to handle the guys? I told them as that would be a very nice idea to kind of peacefully to talk to them and ask them to maybe help them with the rental property somewhere
Mhm.
and move them that way. But if they decide don't do anything, what is the usually the procedure for
Um,
that
hire an estate litigation attorney,
litigation attorney? Okay, that's the only question.
specifically one that deals with estates.
Okay, got
Um,
it.
Unfortunately, situations like this come up all the time. There's
Mm-hmm.
and family, and normally an estate and trust attorney will specialize in litigation, and a lot of times that litigation estate litigation attorney doesn't do probate administration or trust creation. They just litigate.
Got it.
So I agree with you. Try to resolve it somewhat peacefully and maybe offer them some kind of cash for keys or financial incentive to bow out peacefully.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Good questions, guys. So, as many of you are kind of hearing, we don't always have a completely smooth transaction. You have a lot of different family members involved. Family dynamics are one of the pain points that we run into when we're going through or helping people go through probate. Um, it's not the um, most streamlined process for real estate transactions. Every now and then you get one that's just super easy. Sometimes you get deals with hair on them. It's definitely worth it if you guys have not started pursuing probate yet. So maybe you're new. I don't want you guys to get scared off by the potential complexity of a probate deal. The complexity makes it interesting. The complexity makes it where your competition is going to stay low. If you take a who not how approach and build a team, and you have an estate litigation attorney, and you have a really good real estate attorney, and you have good probate attorney and guidance, and you've partnered with people with experience, you don't have to know all the answers. And that's one of the things that I see a lot of people get hung up on. They don't take any action because they're worried about the unknown. I can tell you I deal with unknown every day. I get questions. Natalya just asked a couple of questions that there's a part of me that says I'm not 100% sure that I know the definite answer here, but I know how to find the answers, and that's what you need to be. It's a person that knows how to find the answers, even if you don't know the answer. And if you can't find the answer personally, have a network. Use questions that you don't know the answer to as an excuse to reach out to your network. Create a new relationship. Deepen a relationship that you want to have anyway. This is a relationship game, even more so in the estate and the probate niche. So build your team. If somebody asks for something or needs something and you don't have a vendor, you can find them. You can find them. I needed an estate litigation attorney for the first time in 9 years this year. First time in 9 years of doing probate as a niche. I needed an estate litigation, and that shocked me. I couldn't believe that I didn't have one. It took me several calls. I got a hold of someone, and now I've referred that person twice in North Carolina, and I've used them twice. So I didn't know who to go to. If I'd said, "Hey, I can't help because I don't have a relationship," I wouldn't have gotten any business. Okay, so your answer should always be, I can help find that person for you. And don't lie and say, oh, yeah, I have the perfect person for you if you don't. But I can help find that person for you. And then just go do a little bit of work, make a couple of calls, post in a social media community group, referral group, and get your answer. Okay. So let's jump over to Carl. What's happening, Carl?
Oh, not much. I got a deal that's got some hair on it, like you just said, and I just wanted to ask you, brother and sister. Sister lives in Arizona. Brother was living with mother here in Chicago. He's been living in the house for 20 years. She died last year. Sister is the PR. She's trying to evict. The brother was living in the house. Have you ever contested a will or, you know,
Yep.
okay. I mean, how hard is that going to be? Because I know I talked to one attorney and he didn't even want to deal with it.
So what's the will call for?
The will is leaving everything to the sister, and the brother has been taking care of mom for 20 years, living in the same house, paying all the bills. And the sister lives out of state, but she's getting everything. I'm trying to get my hands on the will to see when it was written,
Yeah.
but it just like you said, it's got some hair on it.
You're in communication with the brother, I assume, correct?
Yes, I am. Mhm.
Yep. Okay. And the sister, he and the sister have not been on speaking terms. Is that fair?
No, because matter of fact, she had all the mail forwarded to her house, and she tried to evict him. He went to court last week and was able to challenge it, but I mean, it's getting hairy.
If he doesn't have an alternative will, there's not a whole lot. I've sent people to attorneys to contest a will. It's generally when you have some sort of evidence that the will has either been tampered with or was signed under duress or signed by someone that was not competent to sign a will. If he doesn't have those three things, it's in his best interest to play nice. And even if she's not playing nice, I mean, it certainly doesn't seem fair that the person that was living with mom and taking care of mom is getting kicked out in the cold. It doesn't seem fair, but there's probably a valid will. It's gonna be hard to contest. Contesting that will is gonna do more to buy the brother time than it is gonna win him the case.
Okay.
So I would reach out with his permission. I'd ask him, "Hey, can I call your sister?" And I would reach out to the sister and say, "Hey, I have been in communication several times with your brother. I know you guys aren't on the best of terms. He was wanting to either stay in the house or find a way to get part of the estate. Can you tell me what's up?" And just let her talk. And then ask, is there use the never split the difference suggestion of, is there anything that we can that you can do? Don't name what you want to be done, but just, hey, is there anything that you're willing to do? And let her set the negotiation. And hopefully she sets a negotiation point.
Okay.
She says, "Hey, I'll give him 10%, or I'll give him 3 months in the house." Hopefully she put something out there that you can start to work off of. If she says, "Nope, not going to do anything," it's going to be a little bit more tough. Then disputing the will is going to buy him a little bit more time, but doesn't mean he's going to win it. I would go to an estate
Okay.
litigation attorney. That would be my first conversation. The attorney that you reached out to, was that an estate litigation attorney, or was that just a
That
probate?
was a probate attorney.
Yeah, they're not going to
Yeah,
want
just straight
anything to
probate
do with
attorney.
litigation. Ask, okay, always looking for excuses to make new connections and to deepen our relationship with the people that we already have. Call all your probate attorneys and ask for a referral to an estate litigation attorney. So it's an excuse to talk to the attorneys that you already have, and you'll get one or two connections to new attorneys that do estate litigation.
Okay.
Every problem is an opportunity, even if it's a hard problem to solve, it's an opportunity to deepen your relationships that you have.
Will do. Thank you,
All
sir.
right. Thanks, Carl. Okay. Natalya popped her hand up first. Rodger, you're first in my list, but I'm gonna go to Natalya because her hand was up a little bit ago, and then I'm coming to you, Rodger.
Well, it's a quick question. What's the best way to find out if this is the good attorney? Because just like we know, there is good and not so good.
Hmm.
And what is the best way to identify?
Only way is experience with them. So I'm gonna interview attorneys first. So before I just start bringing a bunch of referrals on complex probate cases, I do want to have had some attorney interviews. So what I'm gonna typically do is try to have 5 or 6 or 10 or 20, a handful is the point, of
Yeah.
attorneys that I know that can do estate administration. Um, and in that initial conversation, look, I'm looking for an attorney that I could occasionally trust with my clients. Are you taking referrals? Yeah, I'm taking referrals. Hopefully, should be the answer. Is there a chance I could come by and see your practice for 10 or 15 minutes at some point in the next week? And then I want you to go into the attorney's office and ask them questions. I want the gatekeeper to see you. I want them to get to know you. Recognize you when you go back in later. That's the biggest reason I want the gatekeeper to see me. And just see how you feel about that attorney. Get to know how many deals they handle, how they take referrals, what their price points are, things like that. If they're brand new, they might be the best attorney in the world, but if they're new, I don't know that they're the best attorney in the world. So usually I'm looking for someone with a little bit of an established track record as my first um, attorney that I'm going to refer to.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Outstanding. Also, I don't normally refer to people that handle lots of different types of law. If they handle elder law, guardianship, probate, estate creation, like trust creation, if they do a real estate deal from time to time, um, it's going to be hard for them to stay focused. They're the same as us. If we do property management,
Mhm.
commercial, residential sales, work with first-time buyers, work with luxury properties, if we do all those things, it's going to be difficult, not impossible, but difficult for us to do any of it really, really well. Same thing with attorneys. All right, Rodger.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
I had a situation similar to what we're talking about here and what has happened on a number of occasions since in Arkansas is that there is a lot of acrimony between the heirs of in the estate, and everybody lawyers up and start coming to the probate judge with their contention and asking for decisions. The judge will basically look at the attorneys, have a meeting in the judge's chambers, and said, if y'all don't come to an agreement in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to assign a mediator and relieve the personal representative, and we're going to have a mediator make a decision based upon you. If you want to get your fee, you'll get your fee from the mediator, and we'll just find a way to get this thing solved so that to everybody's satisfaction. It's happened on more than one occasion, and I happened to be involved and saw all of the acrimony in the argument of title succession in the arguments. It was a divorced mother and two daughters that were fighting over this and that and what have you, and nothing was getting done. And I was trying to say, but, and the attorneys, all three of the attorneys said, okay, Rodger, you need to go talk to the mediator because he's the one that's going to make the decision on what's going to happen with the estate and any problems that come up. And it gave me an opportunity to customize the situation and solutions on that. With once the ex-wife mother was tossed out of the mix, the two daughters managed to come to an agreement in settling the estate. Everybody was happy at that point.
Awesome. It's funny, Matt just said, and more likely than not, it's not to anyone's satisfaction. You had one where everybody was happy. That's good.
Well, it was. I think I've mentioned this on some of the programs that you've had. Is it was two daughters, one wanted her money right now, and the other one couldn't move out of the house because she had a baby and had another child with her, and her boyfriend was going to jail for a year. And I sit there and I went to a pawnbroker and I said, got a deal for you. And he said, what's that? And it was lucky because I like dealing with pawnbrokers on stuff because they're risk takers. And as long as they understand, and they all understand what a loan amortization schedule looks like. And so I said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to buy the house at fair market value, and then I want you to turn around and sell it to the daughter that has to live in it, and she will take from her proceeds of your sale and will give you 1 year of payments on the amortization schedule up front as a down payment on the property. And by that time, her boyfriend will be out of jail. She will be make decisions on what they want to do. As it turns out, they wound up selling the property to the University of Arkansas. The University of Arkansas doesn't like realtors at all, and so the University of Arkansas bought the property and built on it, bought that whole block of properties. And I saw her about a year later, about 6 months later, and she at a cafeteria, she ran up to me and hugged my neck and said, "You saved our lives, and here's my new baby, here's my boyfriend, here's the other baby," and she said, "We love you." And I said, "What are you going to do now?" And she said, "Well, we're going to move to New Orleans." I resisted the temptation of slapping my head and saying, "Who would want to move to New Orleans? I can't think. Good for you. God bless you. Have a great time. You're wonderful. I'm glad I could help solve that problem." But what I did was I'm now getting cases from all three of the attorneys, the mediator, and both of the other attorneys that were involved, because I managed to find a solution for it. It's always a good idea, and I'm expanding my network, and right now I'm just still delivering pumpkin bread to my attorneys and my past clients that I'm doing. So it's just a matter of staying in touch with your attorneys, and you will get business, and as well as making sure that you contact the attorney in the probate sector so that and let your client know. I will be talking to your attorney, but I promise it won't be for very long because I don't want to run your bill up in doing that. In Arkansas, the payment for attorneys is already legislated. They already know what they're going to get to represent the thing. It is not attorney determined like there is in, I don't know what it's the way it's like in other states, but it's in legislation on if the size of the estate is this much and so on and so forth, that's what you're going to get paid.
There's several states that are like that. I want everyone that just heard that to know that your state may or may not be the same. It's one of the questions I ask attorneys here. What is your fee structure? Our state does not legislate what an attorney gets paid on probate. Matthew Price being here, please confirm that for me if I'm saying something wrong. California, it's legislated. I guess Arkansas, it's legislated. So go check your state rules.
The only thing that's legislated here in North Carolina is going to be anything that's in federal bankruptcy. They give you a high cap. So if a real estate broker says goes in for 6%, the federal will say you get 2%, and that's it. That's all you get.
Yep. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. All right, Cam, let me bring Cam up. I think we may have room for another question after Cam. Might be the last one. If you guys have any other questions, raise your hand and I'll call you up if we have room. Go for it, Cam. Thanks, Rodger.
Thanks to you.
Hey, what's up, Bruce?
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing? So, I had a decent week. So I finally got that. V brought me something. The guy had a reverse mortgage, and it was a little tough to deal with, but I actually made it work. And took us like 4 months to finally get everything situated. But he got his papers and right to sell and all that fun stuff. It was super tough. And that lady with I think I was telling you her sister's conservator and all that fun stuff. She also got her papers, so it's been kind of good. It's been really good.
Good. Good. It's very rewarding, and I'm not sure if the noise is coming from your background or if someone.
Yeah, I'm driving. My bad. I'm
okay.
On my
You're
way
good.
to City Hall.
So it's very rewarding when you can get someone through, figure a deal out that's kind of tough. Extremely rewarding. Rodger just gave a story about someone coming up and giving him a hug and saying, you saved our life. You saved us." Ah, man, nothing feels better than making that kind of difference in someone's life. If you do a great job and you do an amazing job of keeping them in your relationship base, you're going to get a lot of future business from it. There was a point, and I haven't gone through all my probate dealings in the past recently, but there was a point when I went through all my previous probate and estate dealings and realized that I'd gotten a referral or repeat use from all but one. And that's such a rewarding feeling. That's that's my goal for everyone here. But to do that, you've got to be willing to help solve complex situations. Remember, who, not how. It doesn't mean that you have to be the person that knows the answer. You need to be willing to go find someone that can give the answer. And then once you've closed a deal out, you better be good at maintaining that relationship. Those of you that are realtors here, this is preached to you all the time. The majority of you guys, I know this for a fact. The majority of you guys are terrible at maintaining your relationships. And I see Rodger's holding up a Christmas card. Terrible at maintaining relationships. I ask people all the time, what does your sphere of influence look like? I don't know. Are they in a CRM? No. Are they on a spreadsheet? No. When's the last time you've talked to your average person? 2 years. Okay, maintain your relationships. Once you've done a deal with someone, you need to maintain that deal. And that also applies to those of you that are investors. It's especially true for you realtors. If you're an investor, don't ignore your relationships. Keep them. You don't know when you're going to need that friend in the future. If you're a realtor, you better be keeping in touch with people, finding excuses to communicate with them. Um, Again, goes to the attorney. Find excuses to interact. Same thing with your sphere of influence. Find excuses to interact. I'm constantly manufacturing excuses to talk to past clients and people that I know. All right. So find excuses. 54% of business this year was referral or repeat. Stephen, is that 54% of your business, or is that 54%? Is that a nationwide statistic?
That is my business
Yours.
percent of
Awesome.
my business for this calendar year.
Awesome. I love it. And I've maintained that for a long time. I believe that probate and estate business, if it's 100% of your business, means you're probably not taking care of your past clients and your sphere of influence. If you have a goal of it being 100% of your business, I get a little bit nervous. Not because you can't get a ton of business from probate, but even the folks that I know that are doing 10, 15, 20 deals a month are doing close to an equal amount of that business from referrals or different lead sources. So I encourage you guys to build a plan for probate and estate business to be 25 to 50% of your business, and also have a plan to get a solid 50+% of your business from other sources. And there's no better source than your relationships. And if you just don't have that many relationships, go find them. Go find them. I'll do an entire session one day on where to grow your sphere of influence if you need to. Anyone with a good sphere of influence will tell you that at minimum 10% of the people in your database should use or refer you each year. Minimum. Okay. Now, I'm going to clarify that a little bit. If you have 100 people in your database, it doesn't mean that 10 of them, 10 of the 100 are going to use or refer you. What'll end up happening is you'll get 10 deals out of your sphere of influence at minimum. Those 10 deals will probably come from 6 people. So several people refer you multiple times. But at minimum, 10% of the number of people in your sphere should turn into a deal or referral for you each year. I know agents that it's 20 and 30%. I've heard of agents that it's more than that, but you get 100 people in your relationship base, 20 deals, 30 deals a year. And now you start adding in probate into the mix, and you've got a really strong business. All right. We are coming up to the top of the hour. Carl, your hand is back up.
Yeah, just real quick. I was just wondering if you could like have a call like next year, schedule it regarding reverse mortgages and how they deal in the probate sector, because they can be very prickly.
Mm-hmm. I will find someone to have a call on that. That's not necessarily an area of expertise. I know enough to sound really smart to someone that doesn't know what they're doing, and also not enough to where I'll get called out if somebody if somebody knows. So I'm gonna find someone who's done a lot of reverse mortgage deals, specifically in probate, and we'll put a class on.
Thank you.
And if you guys have any recommendations for someone that I might need to talk to on that, let me know. All right. Thanks for bringing that up, Carl. Thank you guys so much for being here. Same time next week. Remember, if you have not taken Probate Mastery yet, try to get in before the end of the year. When the new classes come out and when we redo it, prices will go up. If you're in Probate Mastery, you've already taken it, be on the lookout. We will be announcing the new live series of classes coming up. Those sessions, those of you that have been in the live sessions before know that they're normally long. So 2.5, 3.5 hours per session. This redo is not going to be 3 hours per session. It'll be an hour, hour and a half per session, but it's going to be a lot of sessions. I want to completely revamp the entire program, and I think everyone's going to be very happy with the way that it looks. All right, guys, thanks so much. We will see you next week.